You look at a stock chart, and sometimes it's not just a line, it's a full blown mystery novel. And that's exactly what we're diving into today with the stock BITF. We're going to play detective, and our main source of clues, this technical analysis report. So, let's get into it.
All right, so every story has its high point, right? For BITF, that was $6.60. That was its 52-week high. I mean, the absolute peak, the top of the mountain. And then, bam, we have today, $3.10. We're talking more than a 50% drop from that peak. So, the big question, the mystery we're here to solve, is what in the world happened to get from there to here?
Okay, so to figure this out, we need to, look at the evidence. And for us, the crime scene is the last 3 months of trading. That's where all the action really went down.
And this timeline here, it basically lays out the whole story for us. Just look at this. It started way down in early September, then whoosh, an explosive rally all the way up to that October 15th peak of $6.60. But then, just as quickly, a really sharp correction, a big drop, which brings us to today, where the stock is just kind of hanging out, consolidating around $3. It's like it's catching its breath.
All right, first things first. Clue number one is all about the trend. You gotta ask, where is this thing headed? Is it going up, down? Is it just lost? To get our bearings, we're gonna use a classic tool, moving averages. So what are moving averages? I like to think of them as the stock's memory. They basically ignore all the crazy up and down noise of any single day and just smooth things out. This gives us a much clearer view of the real underlying trend over whatever period we're looking at. Okay, and this is where things get interesting. The clues are all over the place. Look, short term, the price is stable, right at its 20-day average. But zoom out to the midterm, and suddenly it looks weak. But then zoom out even more to the long term, and it looks strong again. It's a total contradiction. So, what's the takeaway from our first clue? Well, it's that the trend is basically a tug of war. You've got recent sellers pulling the price down, fighting against long-term buyers who think it should go up. It's a stalemate. We're definitely going to need more clues. Okay, on to clue number two, momentum. Now, this isn't about which way the car is going, it's about how fast. Is it speeding up downhill, or is it starting to run out of gas and slow down? And to measure that, we're going to look at something called the MACD. I know, it sounds super technical, moving average convergence divergence, but really its job is dead simple. It just tells us if the momentum is picking up or fading away.
Think of it like this. The MACD has two lines. When the main MACD line crosses above its partner, the signal line, that's a bullish sign. It hints that upward momentum is building. And if it crosses below, well, that's bearish, suggesting downward momentum.
So, what does it say for BITF? Well, check this out. The MACD line is currently above the signal line. This is a big deal. It's our first real positive clue. It's whispering that even with that big price drop, the downward pressure is losing steam. It might actually be starting to turn around. All right, for our last set of clues, we're going to tune into the market chatter. We're talking about two things here. Volatility, how wild the price swings are, and volume, which is just how many people are trading. Is the market screaming about this stock, or is it quiet? A great tool for this is Bollinger Bands. Just picture them as two boundaries, like a riverbank, that the price usually flows between. When things get crazy and volatile, the bands spread way out. It's like the market is shouting. And when it's calm and quiet, the bands squeeze together. It's whispering. And look where BITF is right now. It's sitting at $3.10, smack dab on the middle band. It's not touching the upper shouting band, and it's not near the lower desperation band. It's perfectly in the middle. It's a classic sign of indecision after a whole lot of drama. And speaking of chatter, let's look at the volume. That number, 1.27, means that trading volume lately has been 27% higher than usual. So yeah, people are talking. A lot of shares are being bought and sold, which tells us there's a serious debate happening right at this price. Okay, so we've looked at the trend, which was a tug of war. We've looked at momentum, which gave us a bullish hint. And we've listened to the market noise, which is loud but undecided. So what happens when you put all these mixed signals together? Let's see what the final verdict is. And this is it. The report takes all that data, all those indicators, and crunches them down into one single number, a technical score of 76.75. Now, that's just a number, right? But what does it mean? Well, a score like that, anything over 70 really, is considered strong, favorable. So this is huge. After that massive drop, after all the conflicting clues, the final conclusion of this report is that technically speaking, things are actually looking pretty good.
So let's just walk through the story we pieced together one more time. First, you have the shock, the wild ride up and the painful crash down. Then came the calm, where the price found its footing. Then you had that whisper from the momentum indicators hinting that maybe, just maybe, the worst was over. And that all leads to the final verdict, a surprisingly optimistic technical rating.
So there you have it. We've used all this data to make sense of the past and understand where we are right now. The clues suggest we might be at a turning point after a pretty big storm. But remember, technical analysis tells you the story so far. It doesn't write the next page. The big question now is, who's going to write it? The bulls or the bears?